Hi, I'm Morgan, and I am today presenting to you a millennial's foray into LinkedIn. So I kind of started out with what is LinkedIn, which was kind of the hardest question for me to answer. Um, I had heard of LinkedIn. I think a lot of us have. What do we do with it? Who do I use it to talk to? What purpose does it actually serve? Um, and then my next set of questions was, how do I connect with people? Like, what does that even mean? What do I how do I present myself? Who am I? What do I really want people to know about me? I think a lot of times in social media we share way too much or way too little. And I think that LinkedIn is one of those sites where when you look at it, you feel like you're sharing way more than you want anyone to see on a regular basis. Like, do you really want to see your current employer to know that you worked at McDonald's 12 years ago? It's a curation platform that I think a lot of people struggle with. So that was kind of my first step, was trying to figure out what exactly all of it really was. Um, a little bit about me. My name is Julia Shellenbergar. I go by Morgan, which is my middle name. That'll be important later. I am an MA PhD student, and my background is currently in social media marketing. But I am completing my master's degree in public health in order to kind of combine those two. Um, when I first started on LinkedIn, I kind of had already worked in Twitter and Instagram. I'd used Twitch and YouTube, even some of the kind of newer platforms like Mastodon, and the older platforms like DeviantArt and just old Reddit boards and things like that. So I've kind of run the gamut before I started on LinkedIn of the casual social media space. Um, I was asked by my supervisor to look into and sort of figure out what I was what I could use LinkedIn for, if it was something that we could use as the office, um, if it was something that we could use to connect with alumni and other students and businesses. And that kind of led me onto where I ended up here, which is that I am wildly unprepared to enter the workforce. So this is what your intro card probably looks like. It's what mine looked like when we started. I didn't have a background. I didn't have my profile image looks like a mugshot. It was not great. I didn't have any of my previous work experience on there. I didn't have any information about me, none of my degrees, none of my experiences, none of that. I had nothing. It I wouldn't hire me either. Um, so I went through and I compiled a bunch of information to make it look like this, which was very exciting experience for me to kind of put my skills from the kind of casual side of the internet to good use for my professional side of the internet. I did a lot of research into kind of what was expected for each profile. So I guess probably the first question to answer is, what is LinkedIn? It's very hard to describe it. LinkedIn now is pretty much like Instagram or Facebook for businesses. There are actually even LinkedIn influencers now who make a living on LinkedIn, sharing professional advice and that sort of thing. But it's a Facebook for business. It's your professional Facebook. It's often the first place that recruiters check. So they'll get your resume. If you're a promising candidate, the first thing they're going to do is go and type your name into LinkedIn and see what's going on. Um, a lot of times they'll also look at your connections. And this idea of connections or networking is, I guess, something that a lot of people struggle with. And back in the day, right, before the internet, you actually had to go to like cocktail parties and be invited by somebody to make connections and network. And now you can just kind of do that on LinkedIn. Uh, I do understand that networking is something that we are all constantly confused by. We hear that word a lot, form your network and, connect with people and all this stuff. But what it really is more like finding people who are in your area of interest, who then have connections to other people in your area of interest. And as you expand that network, you find more opportunities. And it makes it a little easier for you to reach out to someone about a position if you are already connected to them through kind of the network of your friends on LinkedIn. Connecting kind of comes along with your profile, right? I mean, what you present yourself as is a kind of personal marketing. So when you build your resume for a specific job, you tailor your resume to a specific job, you send it out. That is a form of personal marketing. You're marketing yourself to that position. And LinkedIn now is a big part of that. Your profile should look similar to whatever the area or culture or network is that you're interested in working in. So I live in Colorado. I will probably stay in Colorado for quite a while. And as I looked into this information and tried to figure out what I was supposed to do, I found that a lot of other recruiters and professionals in my area had a much more relaxed standard than what I was seeing online. A lot of kind of online information was, your background should be your university, and your header should be your university, and your picture should be a professional kind of headshot, mugshot. And as I did more research, I realized that my area, kind of on, mountain and Pacific areas, people were a lot more relaxed. There were, pictures from business parties. People had their, their school colors on their headers. I saw a few people had pictures of the mountains, because obviously we have a lot of mountains here in Colorado. And it just had a more relaxed kind of outdoorsy feel. So your header seems to be kind of this statement of your outside personality, and adjusting your profile in that same way that I did is incredibly important. This is just an example. This is what my profile currently looks like. This is a professional photo, the photo that was taken of me. It's a professional photo taken by a professional photographer, but it's a little more casual. I'm outside. It's, a natural light picture. It's not taken in a studio. And you can include those. You can include, professional pictures, or you can use a nice selfie. It just needs to look like you took it with intention. Like you really want someone to kind of just see what you're like. But not, I wouldn't, if you are a job seeker, you post a picture of you and your friends out drinking on a Friday night. I feel like that would be my bar. The header is kind of up to you. Again, look at whatever the culture is of the area that you're looking into, and kind of go from there. It's a lot easier than it seems, because you probably already have some connections. You can also go through any of us at the Career Services office, link with us, and you'll probably be able to see some people and businesses that are in the professional or physical locations that you're interested in working in. So once you got all that done, your big long list of things to do, Um, Connect. You just have to start looking for groups, more on those in just a second. Groups, connecting with your friends. You have no idea who your friends are friends with. Connecting with your professors, with other admin. You have far more access than you might think, just by connecting with everyone around you. One thing to note is that you have 3 degrees of connection on LinkedIn. So your first degree people are people you are directly connected to. That is you and your friend who you link with. So once you've linked to that person, whoever they are linked to, that is your second degree people. And then whoever those people are linked to are third degree. So it's however many bodies are between you and the other people. And you can choose in your privacy settings who can see your information based on those degrees. And a lot of people have it open. So as long as you're connected to one person that they are connected to, you should be able to connect with them. I guess the next big question, we talked about groups. The next big question is groups. Good luck finding them. There is a search bar, as most websites have, and you can easily type in any subject that you're interested in. One of the first ones I joined was the American Public Health Association. I just typed in American Public Health Association and I found them. So groups are pretty much based on interests or based on broader organizations like American Psychiatric Association, American Public Health Association, Butterfly Lovers Association, anything that you can think of that people would be interested in, there is a group for it. Some are closed and you have to request to join, and some are open and you can just join up. Groups are a great way to find positions. A lot of people in groups will post their resume and say, hey, this is my resume, I'm looking for a job. What do you know of any? And that can be your key to either getting a position or at the very least making a connection to help you make more connections in the future. Pages are another important way to connect with people. So pages are different from groups in that they are made by a specific organization. This functions like any other business page. You can follow them, you can join, you become listed on their pages when you start working for them. So you can find a lot of information about businesses and organizations through their pages. They'll have jobs listed, job postings listed. They post a lot of information about maybe successes of the business. So it's a good way to interact with a business or to find people to connect with when you're looking for a job. There's a couple of other things that are worth trying on LinkedIn that will kind of help you out. LinkedIn Learning is kind of one of them. As long as you use your JHead ID to create your LinkedIn or to log into LinkedIn, you have free access to LinkedIn Learning. And LinkedIn Learning gives you access to resources like new platform, ways to use new platforms, ways to use Microsoft Office that you may have never thought of before. It gives you access to an education platform that you may not have any other way. And it's pretty cool because it does actually list which courses you've taken, and you can share that or not share it. And the skill quizzes kind of go alongside the LinkedIn Learning. You can take quizzes on applications in your field. And once you pass that, you get essentially a seal of approval from LinkedIn that you do in fact have the skills that you listed, which is pretty neat, I think. Because a lot of times you can kind of just say, yeah, I'm proficient in Microsoft Office, but then when you take the skill quiz, it's not You find out many things about yourself when taking a Microsoft Office skill quiz. Um, I guess if you're kind of wondering where I got all of this, um, a lot, a lot of looking. I got a lot of information from my office. Um, Everyone who works in career services has a solid idea of where to start, and kind of how to tailor your profile and tailor your resume and get ready to be able to perform in this kind of area. I don't think a lot of times we think of it as performing to, again, market ourselves for a job, but that's kind of what it is. It's a persona that you have to kind of take on in order to have somebody hire you. And I kind of started there, and I ended up looking all over. Instagram was a good one. I found a lot of people on Instagram. There's quite a few of those kind of job search gurus. They do typically charge like $100 to $250 an hour to go over your profile and your resume with you. You can get that for free at the career services office from an actual professional that isn't just saying that they know what they're doing. That's a big plus. But I did find that some of their kind of posted resources were helpful. Some of their tips and tricks that they posted on their stories or on their Instagram, I found those pretty useful, to kind of get down to like tailoring for the culture of an organization or tailoring for the culture of the area that you want to apply in. I found that kind of resources that stated the same thing multiple times were consistent enough to be trusted. They're kind of the same thing repeated. I saw quite a few times, be careful about buzzwords or being too neutral in your resume, or make sure that you list your projects and things that you've worked on in university or your master's degree. And through that, I also kind of learned about how to manipulate the second and third level connections. A lot of tips were things like look through your second and third level connections and find out where where they live, not where they live, but the area they live in and where they work, and connect with them if they're in areas that you're interested in. And I think that was one of the points of being connected to people that I was kind of nervous about, was just randomly adding people on social media. Always feels a little weird, I think, to people. So don't be shy about that. I guess that's one of my top tips, is don't be shy about adding someone on LinkedIn that you think would be beneficial to you. A lot of people on LinkedIn are looking to connect with people. A lot of people are recruiters. A lot of people are willing to help you more than you think. And having your LinkedIn profile ready and prepared can also prepare you to do that in the real world. I met someone at my other job the other day that offered to link with me on LinkedIn, and since then her profile and her connections have been opened to me. But that was somebody that, had I not had my LinkedIn prepared, I would not have been able to kind of get her contacts. A couple of other top tips: go to your LinkedIn profile, click edit public profile and URL, and edit your visible URL. A lot of companies are going to ask for your LinkedIn URL in their application, and it's going to look a lot better on you if you're not typing linkedin.com/user/8B6GT98M. It's a lot better. Right now, my LinkedIn URL is my full name, so it's linkedin.com/Julia Shellenbergar. So that when they look at my resume and then my URL, they know that I've actually come in prepared. You don't need a professional photograph to be perceived as professional. A good solid selfie, preferably in semi-professional or business casual clothing would be good. But you don't need to go out and spend $300 on a studio photo. Um, a lot of people, including recruiters and CEOs and that sort of thing, will have pictures of themselves with their dogs. You know, it's, you just need to look at the area and the culture of the work that you're going into. Tailor your profile to the job you want, especially if the area that you're going into is super professional. You know, you're going into law and you need to be super professional and have a professional headshot and all that, then be aware of that. You know, continue to look at different profiles in that same area. And my other top tip would be, make sure you put your projects on your LinkedIn. I mentioned this earlier, but any undergraduate and graduate papers, projects, presentations, any of that, research that you've been involved in, all of that is an accolade. It's all stuff that you have completed that someone else has not. So including that in your projects portion helps to show that maybe you don't have a ton of work experience in that area yet, but you have all of this other work that you've done relating to, or, you know, you kind of spin them to make them relevant to that particular area. And that's it. That's all we got. If you guys have any questions or anything else, we are always here. So, you know, come to Career Services if you have questions. We can help fill in any of the gaps that you guys are kind of missing. And you know, we're here to help you as much as we can.